Okay, so I'm gonna create an array. This will be returned in the end. So after the for loop, I'm gonna return the array, right? This is gonna be the results. If worst case, it will be
nothing.
An empty array.
Yeah.
An empty array. So let's start with exact match now. Let's fix one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Let's start with exact match. So if this is true,
yeah.
What do you want to do?
Push it.
Yes.
Result push element.
And each element. Okay. So this will fix the first part. If you have more than one, you have multiple exact match, you're going to push on that array result, and you're going to return it. Okay, cool. So now you can use this, and if you have Google enough, you could so starts.
Oh, okay, we didn't know.
So if you read, actually try to take the Mozilla version because usually it's a bit better. So if you go and you see, this is an example, right? So they have a string, Saturday night plans, and then if you console log the string dot, so string as a special method, call it starts with. So if you say starts with sat, it's going to return true because yes, it starts with sat. But if I say starts with sat in position 3, so here, no, that's wrong. So this is the beginning, and then the default is 0, right? Yeah, this is the position. So if you don't have no position, means from 0. So it's gonna do it from here, and that's exactly what we want, right? We want to check the beginning if it starts with from position 0. So how I can improve now your code now that I know that thing. It has own property and each element key dot to string, because we want to be sure that it's a string.
Yes.
Then I have starts
with key. No, sorry, value. Okay.
right. So I'm gonna take the value that is an array. So this h element dot key is gonna be the value. So it's gonna be, let's say my key's name is gonna be Marco, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna be sure. Yeah, let's see. If name is Marco, I'm gonna be sure that it's string. In this case, it's already a string, so still stays a string. And then I'm gonna use this starts with value. So if value is let's say m, it will be okay. One extra thing that you can do if you wanna do if you wanna be case insensitive, because like sometimes I can save a contact with big M, right? But sometimes I can save with a small m. If you want to avoid that, you can lowercase all of it. So you're going to lowercase everything so you can match on with a lowercase. That will make search case insensitive. Means that it doesn't care about if uppercase or lowercase. Yes. You know what I mean? Because like in this specific scenario, we'll say false because I'm searching with a small m, but actually Marco is with a big M, so it's gonna complain, right? So what do you want to do here? You want to do to lower string.
I think lowercase.
Obviously no lowercase. Lowercase. It's just still the beer of yesterday. And you want to do the same here, just to be sure. You can search with a big and also small m, you can do pretty much the same here, right? You guys understand why I'm doing this lowercase and
But you are doing it twice?
yes, I'm gonna twice because could be the other way around, right? Could be that I save Marco with a small m, but I search with a big M.
But does it,
That's
does it
confusing.
make sense?
No,
Yeah.
because you are
Yeah.
going through every element. You know, you
I want to
change
be
it.
sure that both are lowercase, right? So I'm lowercasing both the value that I'm searching and the value in the array.
Yeah, but
So let's say that I don't do this. Okay, let's say that you are correct. Okay, let's say you are correct and I'm doing this. So this will lowercase this Marco, right, and will work, right? Because this it will be lowercase and Marco is gonna be small Marco, right, with a small m, and this will match. Let's now say that you save Marco with small m, and you do this. So you're going.
But you have to make it triple equal to the value as well.
no, what I'm saying is that
have to compare
the
it.
second two low.
No. To start with, already check if it starts with.
Okay.
You're not comparing anything, right?
Okay.
What I'm saying is
What?
the
How
two
do you
lowercase, the second two lowercase, if you are not making two different if, you have to make it after the start with value, because here you're checking the
Oh yeah.
name.
Sure. Here. Yes.
Because
Exactly,
you're
yeah.
checking-
You're
checking
totally correct.
The name.
So I'm lowering casing what is coming back, and I'm lowering casing also the value that I'm searching for. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Sorry. Yeah. Totally correct. So in this particular case, when you save your phone number with a small m, and let's say you're searching with a big M, it will still work, right?
Yeah.
Because the big M is gonna be small, and it's gonna match. So now every combination, it will work. Either small or big it would be fine. Okay. That's it. Cool. So let's see if now I can do this.
Perfect.
Let's add one more. Good. Does it make sense, guys? Or it's a bit confusing?
No, it's
Let's
Okay.
go to Freya. Go to Freya.
Mm-hmm.
And take off the 6, the 5, and the 4.
The 6, 5,
It
and 4.
doesn't matter because it's looking for the name, not looking.
This
for
will not be added because the phone number is too short.
Okay, I just want
Okay,
to.
if you change to anything, it will return because now you are looking for name.
Yeah.
Not for
So let's say I wanna
you're
look-
returning the entire object. So if the phone is not correct,
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. You're returning the entire object, the name, the phone. Both of them even if you're looking for the name, you're showing into the phone.
Okay.
Yes, because I'm searching for name, but I want to return everything.
Yeah,
So when
that's what I'm saying.
when you take your contact list on your phone, you search Marco, right? But then you want to see all of it, right? You want to.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
but,
I mean,
but here it doesn't give you Freya. Freya is you're searching by
no, it
name.
didn't
But-
add it because it was too short.
Yeah, it's not a valid.
Look at this. If I have like a correct length, it's gonna return both of them.
Yeah.
Before, when I made it too short, it's because it's less than 5 digits. It will not be added.
So underline or
But you're adding it or searching
wrong?
it? You're searching.
No, I'm adding, right? So because it was too short, the phone number will not be added.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it will not show you even if you search it by the name. Freya.
No, free and it never went in because
because it never
the
added.
phone number is too short. So, but if the phone number is valid, you see I'm searching correctly. I can now search for phone number as well. So they're both Frank and Fria. They start with say 7.
Yeah.
So I can do this.
Phone 7.
Oh, there is an issue.
No, because
Oh, you need to
it
do
was
2 string.
Yes.
You need to
You
do
didn't
2 string.
Yes, 2 string, 2 lowercase.
Nice. I really like this, guys.
Now it's
Really.
Oh yeah.
I really like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say if I have also Albert start with 7, I'm gonna get 3. Nice.
You know, first I wanted
Good job, guys.
I wanted to be sure if there is a key like a name. If there isn't, give me an error.
If there isn't,
Yes.
so
And
if you wanna say that, you can take this out.
yes.
Like that.
If, okay.
And then if there isn't, so here there isn't, right?
Yes, there isn't.
Now you can take this out as well.
Okay.
Then you can throw an arrow here.
Okay. So if you
And then you can also
run, run key. Yes. Perfect.
So now you're checking the key, right?
Yeah.
If the key exists, all good. Then I will move forward. And if it starts with both 2 string and lowercase, yeah, sure, push on my result.
Yes.
You're good. If doesn't, right? Okay, throw an error. Sorry. Then you can actually be a bit more clever here. You can write it this way, so you are a bit also more meaningful. Sorry. The does not exist. So you're also saying which key, right?
Yeah.
So let's say if I go now back to this and I search, this will work. But let's say I search for company. We don't have company yet, yeah?
No.
Company, right? This should throw, yeah. Throw an error. And you're not catching the error.
Yeah, no, it is. Sorry, the company does not exist.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying when you throw an error,
You do message.
you need this. When something can throw an error, you need to catch it, right?
Yeah.
You see this very ugly error here is because you are not catching it. If you catch it and you do nicely here, you see that the output will be better. You know what I mean? Because when you throw an error and there is no one else to catch to the other side, you're gonna break your code.
Yeah.
Your code will say, "Oh my gosh, this is a disaster. I'm going out." But if you used to try and catch around a method that can throw an error, then you are saying to the code, "Look, try to do this. If something fails, don't stress. Carry on in the catch. Try to do that. If there's throw an error, don't stress. Carry on in the catch." It's kind of like an if, right? If there is an error, go and catch.
I need to learn about this a lot.
Yeah. Try to have a read about error in JavaScript. Throw an error, catch an error, and all that things. But that's that's basically it.
Could you do name here?
Yes, if I
Name
do.
and the value do.
If I do name and 7, it will say that
no-
nothing's found, right? You see, it's an empty.
No. But the value, could you do FRA?
I can yeah. There will be only Frank, because of Fria, right, will match this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
and you can also have a full match. So if I write Fria, it will still work.
Just one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's some.
perfect.
So will be partial match, which starts with, and full match as well.
So,
And if it doesn't find, you get an empty list, which makes sense, right?
because I didn't know about.
I'll give you 15 minutes now to try to do this yourself. Now, I'll show you now what to do. Go and look at the starts with method on strings. Remember that you have a lot of power already, because there are a lot of methods on object, strings, there's a lot of stuff already implemented for you, just one click away. So when you want to do something, always Google around and say, oh, how can I start with in a string? And then you will probably see that there is already a method starts with, and there is also a method called ends with. So if someone at an interview, you will start with the starts with, then say, oh, how we can do an ends with. There is ends with as well. So don't. Well, that's the active.
Okay.
So try to implement this yourself on your solution, and then I'll be back in 10-15 minutes.
Yes.
And then we move forward with the program.
I was start with instead of because as you said the first time, the first letter.
Yes.
I did Sharat topic.
Ah, okay. Okay.
At the first.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's so
But
correct.
it's
That's
better start with because you
it's
can-
more flexible. It's
yeah,
more powerful.
flexible, yeah.
Because you can have a partial match
Yeah.
or full match, and they use the same method, right? So guys, now besides the code, obviously that is interesting. What I think you should focus is when I give you a problem, you need to understand exactly what's. You need to disassemble the problem and understand it in small bits before start coding. It's like a typical issue in interviews or in other scenarios with your boss that they throw an error, they throw a problem to you, and then you immediately do this. Oh yeah, sure. No. It's very hard to solve it while you code. You need to get away from your computer. You need to think what's really happening, and then start to Google around. Like start to okay, well, Marco wants that it starts with, and then if there is misinformation, which I usually do when I write exercise, I write it very quickly on Slack. There are some missing bits you need to ask. It's like your rights are to ask. If an interviewer come to you and say, well, give an exercise, and you don't understand, you need to ask 10 times the same question, and you need to get all the information to solve the problem. There are some trick interviewers that will not give you enough information to solve the problem. And the solution is to ask the right question to solve the problem, because they want you to detect there is something missing to the puzzle and that cannot be solved as well. Usually they're not this evil, but it can happen. There is like a super funny interview question of Amazon of the two poles and the rope, and then there is a solution. One of the solutions is like this guy that is pulling the crazy math ever, and then there's the other guy say, well, the rope is too short for the pole be apart, and that's actually the correct solution. So there was no math involved. He just was thinking about the problem, and he said, well, if the rope cannot do a V shape because it's too short, and the pole therefore are just next to each other. He just went through and think about the problem, right? Where the other guy probably was a bit more confident with the math and stuff, and want to show off his math skills.
Excuse me, I changed the code, but it doesn't work. It returns the last things that I have done.
Did you? What are you?
I save it.
What are you returning? Can I see your method?
This is.
You need to return the results, right? You're not returning. You see? Here, I'm returning.
Okay. Before there is no. Return note. No, it doesn't work.
Did you do return? You don't need the console log there. Yeah. Good.
It doesn't work.
So it's key and just did you start with value to, yes, that's correct, and you push that's fine. What are you searching for?
I just want to
FR and you should get Frank, right?
Yeah.
What do you get?
This is the node contact. Yes, is it right?
Try to Yeah, Frank. Oh, you're doing other operation underneath. You're also doing.
No, nothing.
Oh, probably you're on the wrong folder.
Okay.
Are you? Yeah, probably you're on the wrong folder. The code is correct. Okay. So everybody try this. Do you think we can move forward?
Why it doesn't work like that? Object.
The sum is the wrong one because you want to go through all of them. Okay. I'll show you how to solve it in also in a functional way. Okay, guys, I will solve this again now, but instead of the for and if, using the map, for example, or sum, or I'll show you why sum in Baby is not the best case for this one. Good. So do you remember in the beginning that I told you that this could be solved with a, let's say, map or those functional methods?
Yeah.
It's not necessary that you solve in that way, obviously, but sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's more convenient. So I'll try to redo search by. So I'm gonna comment this out. So I have a kind of a reference, and I'm gonna do the same signature here. So this one is called signature. So the name of the function together with the params are it's called signature of a function. Okay. Yeah, I'm recording. So one of the functional methods that you have on the array, it's map. And map, we can play with map a little bit. So map. So let's say we have an array of numbers.
I think you've done too much.
So this is an array of numbers. Then I want to multiply all of them by 2, for example. So you could go with a for, and and then multiply by 2, and then push it to a new array and return the new array. Or you can say r.map and then element. Then you can just return element by 2.
Yes.
And then if you
Will not work.
If you do console log r2,
because the arrow function is not available.
Okay, just hold on a sec. I actually like this one.
Yes, I do. No, code pen. What is this? Red.easy? Red.
Okay, perfect. So if I run it, yeah, you see I get 4, 6, 10, and 20, right? And this is a function. So I'm passing. This is tricky, and I think this is the tricky part of the functional programming. You are passing a function as an argument in a other function. Think about it, right? This is an operation that you are passing as an argument into map. It's a bit strange, right? If you're not passing a number, and not passing an object, you're passing a function into a function. A bit weird, but that's the beauty. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So if you want to multiply by 4, you can do that, and then you run it and you get by 4. So 2 by 4, it's 8, and so on and so forth. So map, it will iterate over each element, and it will apply this operation for each element and push it to a new array in one go. And you need to have a return. And remember that when the function is in line, there is an implicit return. So this is the same as writing this. But when it's on multiple lines, this won't work. You need to have return. If you are on multiple lines, you need to have return. Remember that classic mistake. If it's in one line, it's implicit return. When it's not in one line, it's multiple lines, you need to write return yourself. You need to write return, like I'm doing here, e by 4. E is each element of the array. So this is how map works. There is also for each. For each is the same. The difference that for each will not return. For each and map are the same, but for each will not create a new array, will not return a new array. You see here, this equal const array 2, this will be empty, it will be undefined, it doesn't exist. But if I write map, it will return the new array. So for each is basically the for. It's the same as the for. You need to do this. If you use for each, you need to, like the for, create array 2, and here you push it. So when you use for each, you need to create your own array and push it. When you use map, what you return will be automatically pushed to the new array. Okay. And the beauty of this, that you can chain, right? So if you can do filter. So if you want to do only a number that can be divided by 2, you can say
just only return the first true.
So if only the number that the rest of the division by 2 is 0.
The reminder.
They will be passed into the new one. And then in for each, you can push and create a new array, and that. So you can see how much operation I can do by chaining. So the output of filter will be the input of for each.
Like the then.
Yes, kind of the same. The chaining style. So you filter, then you for each, and then you reduce, and blah blah blah, and then you end up with the result. Kind of like functional style, functional programming. When the output of the first is input of the next. Okay, so now we can solve with this style the same problem, the search by. Instead of the for if, we use functional programming. But I need your help now. Okay, so we agree that this is an array, right? So what we want to do, we want to return, try to write very compact, right?
You want to return an array.
Yes.
So you can use map.
So what is gonna be E? What is E?
Every object will be E.
Yes. So what I need to do for check if the E is
If there is a key.
okay.
E dot key.
No,
No.
Have
E
own property.
has own property in the parentheses key,
Mhm.
but you don't. You shouldn't use if condition here.
Yeah. If
Okay.
I'm typing what you say. So you need to check for the key.
Yes.
Yes. And we can throw an error, right? If it doesn't,
Yes.
like we did before.
Yes.
You agree on that?
I don't know a lot about this.
It's the same, right? It's like it's the same to
Yes.
be in the for loop, right? So this each element here
Yes.
is this now.
Yes.
So throw error, and then we can type.
Key doesn't exist.
Yeah. Good.
You know, the key doesn't exist. Otherwise, it
Okay,
doesn't
yes.
have meaning.
So if the key exists now, right? So if the key exists, you want to do the same check here, right? I don't want to type it again. Let's fix now this code.
Change each element.
But you should delete the result dot push.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What I want to go here, what I want to do here.
Return
Nice.
E.
Yes.
Yes.
So what you return here will go in the array that will be returned by search by.
Yeah. Yes.
So every time this functions run, what returns is gonna be in the array, and then I'm returning the array. Here I could also do this.
Then you should return.
But even more compact, I could just, since I'm not using a result anywhere else, I can just return this right away.
Yeah. But why? Okay.
So this is a bit more compact than that
Do
one.
you think it will work like that?
Yeah.
In the condition, the if condition, you are asking the to check
Oh.
the if.
So yeah, you need to watch out for that. So this will create it's a good question. So this will create an array, and then if it's not
It doesn't
you
match
will,
your condition.
yeah,
it will
you will
throw
return undefined, because
Yeah.
undefined is the default returning value. So we are almost there. So maybe it's better the map is
Filter.
perfect, guys.
Because filter just they pass the true.
Perfect. So map is a bit more convenient when you know that you're gonna get a value for each array. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with an array with undefined and undefined, and then the real result, and then undefined, and then you need to filter again. But you can use filter straight away. I could chain after map here. I could have done filter and remove the undefined, but I can just use filters straight away. Good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another way of solving the same problem.
Maybe better will be not start with index of.
So there is a difference. Like index of, you're gonna check the entire string. So let's say if you do M, and the name is Emma.
You return your list with M, and you can.
Oh, index of works like this, right? So let's say I have a name Marco, right? Let's start with this. So if I console log index of Marco, right? Oh, sorry. I think it's like this. Sorry. Like this. It will say that M is in position 0. Means that M is in the beginning, right? So if you have Emma now, it will say that the first M is going to be in position
Interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
Do we have a Mac charger here we can borrow from someone because we're running out of power?
This
Yeah, like a Mac charger. I think it's Alicia's. We'll bring it back. She
no,
has
it's the new Mac or
Yeah, I have all.
old one. Maybe. I don't know. Yes, can I borrow that one for like to bring it back? New, old. Sorry, Marco.
no problem. So the index of is gonna return the index of the first match.
Okay.
So you say M says in position 1 because it's 0, E, and first M is 1. So, and if you do with index of, it's gonna be a bit more convoluted to check multiple characters, right? It would be very tricky because if I wanna search for MA, then you need to check that the index is gonna be 0 and so on and so forth, right? So you're going to discard the one that the index are not 0 because you want to catch only the one that starts with. So the starts basically that returns the index 0. But yeah, that also could be a solution.
No, I use index of because if I want to check number of telephone and I remember only 2 numbers from middle of big number.
With index of you could do that. But you can actually do with starts with as well with the position. You could like scroll with the position, make the position go 0, 1, 2, and search by moving as well, right? Okay. Good. That's also a good point. Index of will be definitely a valid solution as well. Question. What constructor does in a class?
Constructors.
When a constructor runs, for example.
At the beginning.
Beginning of
structure
your
of-
day.
It's the structure of your object.
No, constructor. When the constructor, so we have a class, right? In the class there is a constructor.
Yes.
You remember that? It's kind of a special method, constructor.
You can reuse
When you run that constructor, when you type the keyword,
You defined in the class.
when you type the keyword new,
Yeah.
Okay.
right?
It will
So when you
return the new object.
when you type new,
Yes.
that new, let's say new user
Yes.
parentheses, those parentheses are the parentheses of the constructor.
Exactly.
So the constructor runs when you create a new one, when you type the keyword new. Good. So is the constructor special method necessary? So every class needs to have a constructor.
Of course.
Yeah.
no.
With no property or with, it doesn't matter.
So if a class doesn't have a property, does it need a constructor? Maybe not.
No, repeat again. I couldn't understand.
So let's
But it depends what you're doing with that concept.
yes. So let's say this particular class, when I create it, doesn't have any params. So when I create the contact list, how I create a contact list? My contact list, right? New contact list.
Yeah.
No params, you see? There are no params. But I still have a constructor because I'm initialize an underscore list array. So in this particular case, I need a constructor, but I can also create another class that doesn't have a constructor, that's just methods. So can so I create now a new class. Sorry. So you see, this is still okay. It's not complaining, and I can do add instance 2 3. This is gonna be the result. Then I can console log the result, right?
But here in the class, my class, there is just one method. Yes. You shouldn't write here
Oh, sorry.
add
Yeah, sorry.
to
Yeah. Totally correct.
Yes.
5. Okay, so you see this class as no constructor and it still works. So constructor is not always necessary. It's necessary in two particular cases. When we want to pass some initial values, so when we create, we want to pass immediately some initial values, and also when we create a new instance, this is an instance, right? This is another instance, right? Those are now two objects coming from the same class with the same behavior, right? The same properties, methods. Yeah. So when instance need to, for example, initialize something for you internally, like I did before with the underscore list. So when I create, I want to immediately create a new, an empty array.
Yeah.
So in that particular case, I need a constructor, but it's not mandatory that you need a constructor in a class. Okay. So question solved. NPM. So we go back to Node a little bit more now. With some JavaScript, we go back to Node. So everything I said with class, obviously is valid both in the Node environment and also the browser environment. So modern browser, they understand the keyword class, so no problem. And the same in Node. Do any of you remembers what's the difference between the runtime, so the piece of software that runs JavaScript in the browser, and then there's the piece of software that runs JavaScript in Node? There's kind of difference in there, right? There are some API missing in one, and also other API missing in the other one. There's kind of a mismatch. So let's say in the browser, right? The browser runs JavaScript. But the browser has some special API. Let's say the window. Right? So if I go here and I say window, I get this object, window, which is embedded in the browser, comes together with the browser. And this is window, it's a representation of the window, right? Then I have also something called document. Document.
It could be better if you make this a little bit smaller because it's not fit on the TV.
Oh. Oh. Better?
Yes, now it's.
Yeah, so you have document as well, but obviously it doesn't make sense that you have a document and window in Node. Node doesn't have a graphical interface, right? So there's no window in Node. There's no document. So that's also, there's some differences because the browser has some extra stuff that Node doesn't, which is like all the UI part, right? Okay. Cool. So if we go back to the slides, NPM. So NPM stands for Node Package Manager, and this is a tool that comes together with Node to help you install, to help you manage Node projects. For example, install external libraries. So if you want to use a library that I developed and is on NPM, you can, with one line, very easily install that library. And you can also, with NPM, you can also publish your own library. So if you create something that you think is useful for the rest of the community, you can do NPM publish and your code will be available on NPM. And so other people can download it. We're gonna go through the commands, like the typical commands of NPM. I cannot cover everything because somehow NPM is really large and has a lot of commands, but I'm gonna show you the 3 fundamental commands that you absolutely need to know. Like absolutely need to know. This is like you cannot know less than this. And some flags together that it comes with commands. And this is actually really easy. npm init. So init will auto-generate a package.json file. Maybe you have seen this already, right? A package.json file automatically for you. It will ask you some questions through the command line interface. Then you fill those questions and it will generate this package.json file. And this JSON file contains all the information related to your project. So we're going to type those commands together now just to go through. And npm install will install packages. Uninstall will uninstall packages. Save dev and -g. So those kind of 3 flags that you're going to see over and over and over. So save. So a project has kind of two sets of dependency. So the first dependency are the ones that are need in the code that you are writing. And then there is a dev dependency that are the tools that your code needs to run. I'll try again because it's a kind of a subtle difference. So when you write,
like when you commit.
Yeah, I'm gonna show, but I wonder you get at this like logically first.
Yeah.
So 2 kind of dependency. The dependency that your code depends on. So if let's say you're using an IDLE library, that will be a regular dependency. But let's say you use Webpack or another tool. That's a tool to build your code. You're not using Webpack inside your code. You're using Webpack as a tool, let's say, to build your code. That's a dev dependency. That's used only for tooling. Your code doesn't really depend from that particular library, but the entire project uses that tool to build your code. I know it's tricky.
So it's like when you take the dependency and you work with it.
Yes, if you use it inside your code, if you do require,
like working it. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
that would be
bigger.
that would be your dependency, regular dependency. But if you're using an external, let's say a server, an external server to run your project,
that's like an addition to your.
Yes, that's a software that's side by side your code.
So this is a dev dependency.
And the -g stands for global, and then will allow you to install software everywhere, just not in that particular project, but let's say you need
all the projects in the
it will be a command line tool. I'll give an example. So now this can be a bit abstract, but I'll give an example. So let's go back to this one. So if I open here, you see there is no package.json file, right?
Yeah.
I want to make this a node project. So LL won't work on your machine, but you can use ls-l if you want to do the same. But if I do npm init, so first of all, you have a node install and npm. You can check the version with the npm -v. So if you do npm -v, it will tell you which version, and you should have something around 6, I guess.
Otherwise, we can not have it.
Oh, no, it's coming. It's coming. 6.4.1. Yeah,
Okay.
it's good.
641.
Yes. Okay. Cool. So if everybody has npm, you can try to run in your project npm init. npm space init. So if you run npm init, it's gonna ask you some questions, yeah.
Utility.
So let's say it's suggesting me a package name. he wants to give a name to a project. I'm gonna call Hack Your Future Week 2. Yeah.
We can choose whatever we want.
Yeah. Those are questions. Package name. Just look what I'm doing, and you will figure it out. So I'm calling my Hack Your Future Week 2. Okay. Version 1. That's fine. Description. Class. So contact list with class. It has search, add, and delete methods. Okay. So I gave a description of my project. I hit enter and I move. So entry point. This is the kind of a file that is going to look for it when you run it. Then will be index.js. This is the default option, so that's fine by me. Test command, we don't have test yet, so we skip this. Git repository, we don't have a repository. Actually, we have a repository. You just gave to me a repository, right? That one. So I'm gonna put that in there. So just copy the repository URL. Hit enter. Keywords, I'm gonna say class. Teaching, Hack Your Future, contact list. Okay, and those are the keywords that will be used in the NPM when you publish. So if this project became public and you publish it, those keywords are important for other people to search for your project, right?
Can you explain again the Git repository?
So the Git repository is going to be the link, the URL of the repository where the code exists. So other people, when they search an NPM, they can see the source code. They have like a link, see source code, and their link will be this URL that you put there, okay? So author, sorry, I'm gonna steal your code. I'll put my name. So usually the format is this. You write your full name, so first name, surname, and then you open angular brackets and you put your email in there. This is a kind of a standardish approach. So first name, second name, space, angular brackets. Maybe you have 20 names, but I have 2 names. Then surname, and then you space, angular brackets, and then your email. And this is also important because if people like you or want to ask a question about, they can mail you about your project, right? And then the license, we skip this, we keep the default one. And then it will ask you, is this okay? And you can see kind of a preview of the package.json file. It's going to show you what's going to be like. And then if you say, okay, enter, it will create this package.json file for you. And this will contain all the information that you've been typing. And now you can edit from here, right? So if you see this has been created automatically for you. So these bugs, you understand that this is a GitHub repository and say, oh yeah, bugs are the issues domain, right? And I put the keywords in there. I understood that it's a Git repository. And it'll fill this for you. So if you run the script, it's gonna say error, no test specified. So it creates this automatically for you. Now you can, of course, edit. So if you say I made a mistake, you can edit this package.json file and fix it. So this is kind of a init help to initialize it with questions. Good. So let's say that I want to use a library. So I go on npm. So if I go on npm.jest.com, I can search for a library. And let's say I want to use a library called a Lodash. This is an example. So I go and look for Lodash and I find it.
Just a little bit.
A little bit slower.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if you go on npm.jest.com and try to search for something, I search for Lodash, for example. So if you go here, do Lodash. and you get on this package called a Lodash v417. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So you see, you have few information about the package, and it says that has 18 millions download per week.
Per week?
Yes. So this is a very popular package. Okay.
What is Lodash?
18
Lodash is a
million.
Lodash is a library for data manipulation. Now we're not gonna use a Lodash. This is kind of an example. Let's say I'm interested in using Lodash in my project. This is kind of a example. We're not gonna use Lodash, but it's a library. You can read about Lodash, and if you do Lodash JavaScript, you can read it here. It's a library, right? We don't care about Lodash at the moment. So you can see how many the version, the license, the issues, the home page, the GitHub repository, and if I go on a GitHub repository, you can see that this project has a package.json file. And this package.json file is similar to ours.
Dev dependency.
And has the dependency and has the name and the version pretty much like ours, right? We have no dependency yet, but you can see they have some dev dependency here, and they have some scripts as well. Okay, so I want to use this package. I'm interested to use this package. You install by doing this. This is a kind of I is a shortcut of install, so you can use also I. If you want to be the cool kid, you use I. You know, so you go here again. You open the new terminal, and you write type install Lodash or npm I Lodash. Up to you. When you type that, it's gonna show you, oh, we create this package lock.json file. This is something that you don't have to touch. This is something that is automatically managed by npm. Yes. No, like when you write large software, you're gonna have some dependencies, because you're gonna rely on other people's software. You cannot write everything yourself, right? So let's say when you use React or another project, React is a dependency of your project. React is a piece of software that is part of your software. So you have React in your project, and then you have the code that you wrote. That's your entire software, right? So React is a dependency. So dependencies are not bad at all. Dependency is a way to say that your code depends on this other piece of code, and you want to declare it somewhere. Where? Package.json file. So package.json file has the list of the dependency of your code. So when I use your code, then also I know where to pull the dependency from, right? So instead of going and look into requires everywhere in your hundreds files, you have just list all the dependency in the package.json file. So when I do npm install, I'm going to install your dependency automatically. It's like a tree, if you imagine, right? Okay. And
now you have this file, package.
Yes, so this one is not for humans. This is a special file that npm use to keep track of the version. This is not for you. You don't have to look at this. This is for you. Now if you go down, you will see this dependencies. And now the dependencies contains Lodash version 4.17.11.
No, because you're using it in the same project.
Yes. So I'm now saying that this project has a dependency Lodash. So this is now interesting, because if I go into node modules, this is also created by npm. This one is gonna have Lodash.
All the Lodash packages.
Yes. So it will automatically download everything for me and put it in the Lodash folder. So now I can go in my index file and I can do
require What is it?
So what did I do? I require Lodash, and when you don't have this, it's gonna look where
in the same
in the node modules folder. So where I don't have anything, it's just the name of the package is gonna look node is gonna look in your node modules folder here. And what if you can find Lodash? So you import it. I usually call it like this, but you can call it say Lodash if that's better for you. And then I can use Lodash. So if I do Lodash dot after or add, perfect. I have descriptions, what returns, and I'm good. So this will add two numbers. So if I use 4 and 5, const result, then I console log Lodash result. It's gonna be R. Oops, it's gonna be R. Then if I run this, Lodash result 10. So I import a library and I use it.
How does it know it's going to add together?
No, this is a method on that library.
Lodash, yeah.
Lodash has a method called add. It's for mathematical operation.
Okay.
As something called add.
So also, whenever we want to add two things together, we can use just this.
This is a really stupid example, right? But obviously, if you want to do, let's say, something more complex, Lodash is already built in all this, right, for you.
Oh, okay. I just want to know.
So let's say you want to drop right or other strange mathematical operation, you can import Lodash and use Lodash instead of implementing yourself weird, let's say, matrix multiplication, which is hard to write. You can just import. So the idea is this: when you write software, probably 80-90% of your software is recycled. If you think the lines of code, you write a very, very few amount of lines of code in total. Like if you see it in the total, right? Because let's say you import Lodash, which has 5,000 lines of code, and you write 100 lines of code. Of 5,100 lines, you wrote just 100 lines. So exactly, that's exactly what I was going to. Dependencies are good because you can recycle code. You write a package, you publish it, and other people can use it, right? And then it's the same as modules, right? You remember when we talked about modules? This is the same module, but instead of a module that you write, it's a module that you downloaded from the NPM registry. Are we on board on this? And now Lodash is an example, it's a library for mathematical data manipulation, but there are many libraries, right? There are. Bootstrap is another package. It's another library, right? There are many React is another library. Webpack is another library. There's all libraries that you can download and use.
How many?
Yeah. Lodash is focused on data manipulation and mathematical operation. So it depends what you do, right? I just
how many NPM we can use in one?
As many as you want.
Okay.
And the good things that when I put my guys, the last second, and then we go to lunch. This is important. Let's say I delete this.
What will happen?
Right? So now I don't have Lodash anymore. If I run this, probably need to save that. I need to go back here. Yeah, save it and run that. Probably it's still in cache, but I don't have the Lodash anymore here, right?
Yes.
What I do, if I just do npm install without anything, without any package, just install, is gonna install everything that is in my dependency.
Oh.
So if I do npm install, it's gonna add one package, and it's gonna put back Lodash in there, because it's gonna look again for package.json and look in here. So here, if I, even manually, if I add React and say 16.63 and I save it and I do npm install, Let me refresh that one. React, another libraries as well together with React. So it's going to install everything that is in here.
So the React is a kind of npm. Yes?
A React is a package,
okay,
like Lodash.
Okay.
So every time you run npm install without anything, it will look in here, and it will do something like this for you. It will do something like that for you automatically, yeah? So now I don't have to put this in my repository, right? Because we don't want to have that in our repository. Now, as far as I have this, I'm good, because when he downloads my code, then he will just go and do, sure, npm install. It will wait, and he will have the same node module folders.
A new package. Every time you add a new package, before you will pick, now it doesn't.
Yes, because some package has other packages.
But
so if you go React as this, and this as a dependency. So it will go down in a tree and, okay, React has this dependency, or will it download those? Those dependencies has this dependency, or will it download those until the tree is over?
Okay. Can you go to the index.js?
Yes.
Go up. Oh, so what about the const Lodash?
Yeah,
because you don't have this anymore. You don't have this file anymore.
I have this file. It's here now. Before was working because I think it was in
but
still in memory.
We have to write this as well, yes?
Yeah. You need to import it. Yes. You need to import it. So when you install,
you didn't write the React here.
No, because you need to do it yourself. If you want to use it, you need to do const, let's say React equal require React.
Okay, so you have to.
Yeah, you need to in your code. This is your space, right? This is your code. Yeah. In your code, you need to import the library. Yeah. And now I can start to use React. Let's say create element.
So this
and then I can create an element.
That you have to do. You have to come back here and.
Yeah. You need to import. You need to require it in every file. You need to use it.
Okay.
But this is 2 lines. Is code that you're importing code that you didn't write. Those are your dependencies, right?
But what happened if, for instance, you made a mistake and you delete the packages.json?
npm install. If you know the package.json file, then you're in trouble. You don't have to delete that file. You need to keep, because that file is it's important for your project. It has everything in there: name, description, keywords, repository, dependencies. So contains all that information. You don't want to lose that file. That file goes together with your source code, and it goes in your GitHub repository. You remember when I went to Lodash, or let's say take my package here, right? If I go on my repository, and I go, let's say on this project that I did, there is a package.json file there. So when you install, you're gonna have exactly the same stuff that I had on my computer, right? But you know, look at that. There is no node modules folder. There's no node modules. Node modules is not in the repository because it doesn't need to. As far as you have the package.json file and you do npm install, you're gonna have that folder automatically generated for you. And this is the same here. But if you go on Lodash. If you go on Lodash, it's the same. They have the package JSON file, but if you look for node modules folder, there isn't. You see? They don't have it. It's not here. It doesn't need to be. As far as your dependencies are listed in the package.json file, you can automatically generate that folder on your machine.
So here, when they told us they are going to teach us the React,
you're going to have a package.json file. You're going to have React in your dependency.
Okay.
Yes.